So like we were saying, we don't want to draw too much attention to the fact that Team 3 is not going to be getting to do the activity, but we do want to make sure that we really remind them that there is going to be another time, either during the day or tomorrow, in which they're going to be able to try and get that reward again. So there's some alternate versions to the good behavior game. Those alternate versions include identifying positive behaviors instead of negative behaviors. This is really great because it helps us come away from all of that negative, and it helps us really focus on the positive behaviors. Another reason that this is a great thing to do is it helps you as the teacher to give more labeled praise. A lot of times we get away from that because we're always identifying these kind of negative behaviors because they're really easy to grab and hold on to. And it's sometimes not as easy to identify positive behaviors. So this will help you get to that saying labeled praise more frequently. And we want it to be about 5 times to every one negative thing that you're doing. So this will help you in order to pick out those positive behaviors. And you're going to say things like, great job, Team 1, for raising your hands and sitting quietly. You've gotten a point. Instead of identifying those 3 negative behaviors like the other version of the game. Also, there's kind of an in-between version that we can do that's teacher versus students. This is great if you have really competitive students in your class and they're really getting on each other for one group is always winning, or really just saying like, oh, we won and you lost, and we want to kind of get away from all of that negativity and all that competitiveness. So instead, we can do teacher versus student, and that's going to give these students the opportunity to all work together as a team to go against you, the teacher. And why I say this is kind of an in-between version of the game is because you're going to be identifying the great behaviors and giving some good labeled praise to the students when they're doing good things, but you're also kind of going to identify for them, hey guys, we're not remaining in our seats, so I get a point this round. And that way, you're identifying the negative behavior, but again, not focusing on it, and you're still giving a lot of that good labeled praise. So those are some of the ways that you can change the behavior game to better fit your classroom. Right now, we're going to take a look at this video that'll give you kind of a visual of how the game is played. But remember, in this video, they're going to be using the negative, the 3 behavior identification instead of positive behaviors. So let's take a look at that real quick.
What's that fraction say?
One of the greatest challenges teachers face is managing student behavior during instructional time and transitional time. The PACS Good Behavior game addresses this concern by providing teachers with an easy-to-use, research-based strategy that reduces disruptions and allows students to focus on learning.
Thank you very much for those fingers in the air, ladies and gentlemen. So that signals our next good behavior game. I'm looking for some super quiet hands in the air.
First grade teacher Matt Burtness has been using the Good Behavior game for 6 months, and he plays it with his students 3 times a day.
What would a spleen look like if we were working in our math books?
Talking to your neighbors.
Talking to your neighbors would definitely be a spleen.
Saying shh to your friend.
Saying shh to your friend. We're just going to do a quick game before PCP, ladies and gentlemen. So, 8 minutes on the clock.
To start playing the game, you have to first create the PACS vision for your classroom. And the PACS vision is how you want your classroom to look, to feel, and to sound.
The students helped decide what they wanted the atmosphere of their classroom to be. Unwanted behaviors are called spleens, while positive behaviors such as staying in your seat or raising your hand are called PACS behaviors. The classroom has been divided into 3 teams, and the goal of each team is to behave in ways that will result in the fewest number of spleens.
Spleen table 3.
During the game, teachers continue with their regular classroom instruction, keeping an eye out for potential spleens.
When teachers notice that a student is being disruptive or off task, being distracted, they will just mark a point against that team without identifying the student in a very non-emotional tone, and then they will continue to teach.
Spleen table 3. What do all these subtraction equations have in common? Miss Adrian.
At the end, they all have 9.
At the end, they all have 9s, exactly right.
Before playing the game, students were taught different PAX cues, which are nonverbal strategies like the quiet sign, PAX hands, and PAX voices.
Let's try a 3-foot voice, please. Where 3 foot is normal talking. 60 minus 9 equals? 7. Thank you very much.
The positive impacts of the good behavior game are evident throughout the school day. For example, Matt can give short verbal reminders that help students self-manage their behavior during instruction
Go Pax. Nice work, buddy.
and transition times.
Ashley's giving me some super responsible Pax hands, keeping them to herself.
I've noticed that the students have become more responsible, more respectful, and more caring towards each other since playing the good behavior game.
One tool that contributes to this goodwill is Toodle Notes. Toodles are written compliments given to students or staff to acknowledge kind behavior.
I think I need to give one toodle out to Mr. Jarrell for being super responsible and doing his work the whole time.
One concern that was expressed when we were first introduced to the good behavior game was that it would take time away from class time, it would decrease students' time on task. But I think it's safe to say that it's done completely the opposite.
I learned a lot of stuff from playing this game. I just learned how to put my eyes on the teacher and on the board when he is talking to us. I just learned a lot of stuff.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that signals the end of our game. Thank you very much for those 2 fingers in the air. So, our spleen count, we have table 1, no spleens, very nicely done. Table 2, we have 1 spleen, not too shabby. Table 3, we have 4 spleens. I am pretty sure that you guys will do better next time and make responsible PAX choices. Spleens that I noticed were, we had some students that were talking with each other. We had some students that were just not doing their work.
A team with 4 spleens or more sits out quietly while other teams receive a reward for their positive behavior. A prize from Granny's Wacky Prize Box. Today's prize?
Drum solos. This is your moment to rock. 12 seconds. Here we go.
The research shows very clearly that those kids that were exposed to the game in 1st and 2nd grades were less likely to be involved in aggressive and risky behaviors later in life, and also less likely to use tobacco, alcohol, and other drugs.
What 2 letters did you use, ladies and gentlemen?
It's helped organize the class, it's helped with teamwork, it's helped with collaboration, and those aren't just skills that they're going to need now, but those are skills they'll take with them in the future.
So like the video told you, some of the ways that the good behavior game helps us is it teaches our students teamwork, self-regulation, and delayed gratification. It also helps students become more aware of the actions of themselves and others. And it teaches them focus and responsibility. These are all great things for them to have now and in the future. Also, the video showed you a little bit of tootling. We're going to get a little bit further in depth into that. So we say tootling is better than tattling. So it's actually sort of the opposite of tattling. When somebody comes and tells you a bad behavior that somebody else does, instead we want them to look for good behaviors Because remember, we're always trying to focus on positive behavior, not negative behavior. So instead of identifying the negative behaviors, students are going to identify positive behaviors or give compliments or nice statements to their peers. This can be in conjunction with the good behavior game like you saw on the video, or this can be completely separate intervention if you're just wanting to improve students' ability to recognize good behaviors or improve social skills. You don't have to use them together. What you would do is give students index cards, sticky notes, or a Toodle-specific paper that you've come up with to write on. And you would designate a time for these students to share their Toodles with you. You can either make a Toodle board or you can have a box where you put all of the Toodles in, whichever is best for your classroom, whatever you think is going to be least disruptive and best to keep the kids involved. So why do we do these Toodles? Well, it sets, again, a focus on positive behavior instead of negative. We're really always trying to go away from that. And students get recognized for behaviors that they're doing from their peers. So instead of just always being recognized by the teacher, they're getting recognized by each other. And while the students are looking for these positive behaviors in their peers, they're less likely to be doing the negative behaviors that you don't want them to be doing. So another way that we can keep some tips to keep these kids involved in doing these positive behavior recognitions is you can occasionally read the Toodles out loud. You want to know what the students are recognizing each other for, and the students want to hear too. It gives them ideas for what they can recognize their peers for. It also is reinforcing for them to hear you read out loud the things that they've done throughout the day. For some added fun, you could choose one Toodle and give a prize to the author and the recipient of the Toodle, which then gets them more involved, and you can do that daily or weekly, whatever you think will keep your classroom more engaged in writing these Toodle notes. And lastly, we want to talk about the social skills lottery. So this is similar to a Toodle, except for you're looking out for these behaviors. And this might be a better way if you don't have students who are quite ready to write a Toodle note out. This is a better way for you to be able to still recognize them for all that good behavior that they're doing, but it's not challenging in that they need to write out an entire Toodle and recognize each other. Instead, it's kind of a step towards Toodling. And so what you can do is talk to your students for maybe 2 to 5 minutes in the morning about some sort of social skill that you'd like them to display for the day. So maybe that's sharing toys, and you tell them what it looks like and why it's good to share toys with your friends. And then you tell them you're going to look out for that skill all day or all week, whatever you want to do. And then when you catch a child doing the social skill, you can have the child write their name if they're able to do that on a ticket, or you can write their name and give it to the child, acknowledging that, giving a one-on-one acknowledgement of the fact that you saw them show this social skill, and then they can place it in the lottery jar. So it gives it two different dimensions. One, that you're giving them the one-on-one attention for doing something good, and two, they get the reinforcement of placing it into a jar or a shoebox, whatever you feel is best for your class in order to pull it out at the end of the day. But one thing we have to remind the students is that they can't tell you that they've done the social skill or that they saw Johnny do the social skill. You have to catch Johnny doing the social skill. And this way, it gives you know that they did the skill, and also you can give them that one-on-one attention instead of having a peer do it. Then at the end of the day, like I was saying earlier, you're going to select a winner. So you can either, again, if you have it in a jar, shoebox, pull one out. Depending on how you feel about it, you can select one winner, 2 winners. It depends on how many lotteries you're doing and how often you want to do this. And then those lottery winners get a prize. The great thing about this is that kids catch on really fast that if they have more tickets in the lottery, they're going to be able to have their name pulled more often. So they're much more likely to do the social skills that you're looking for because they want their name in that lottery as many times as they can get it in there. So we wanted to wrap up with just letting you guys, reminding everyone, because we all need a reminder sometimes, that success is a journey and not a destination. It's not going to be perfect. Your implementation of all of these interventions, they're going to take time for the students to understand them and to acclimate to them. But you really want to stick with it. And if you don't remember a single thing about our presentation today, besides positive reinforcement and making sure that we're doing good labeled praise and we're giving the students lots of good attention when they are promoting positive behaviors, then that's perfect. Because really, all of these interventions surround that whole idea that the positive attention for positive behaviors is better than negative attention and drawing that attention to things that you don't want. So we wish you the best of luck on your journey and hope that in the future these can help you to manage some of those classroom behaviors.